What is going on, everybody? Welcome to the season premiere of Fantasy and Frames Wednesdays here on the Fantasy and Frames Network. I'm your host, Jorge Edwards, and we got a ton of shows here tonight, a lot of great content. A lot of our guys are going to be the topics for basically from a Dynasty perspective, an IDP perspective, as well as a redraft perspective. So welcome to Dynasty 365. I'm your host, Jorge Edwards. With me, I got Aiden Weingartner. Aiden, you are the man of TikTok the past 24 hours of Twitter, because you called it, man. Alec Aomanor, just is that, did I pronounce it right? Aomanor?
Yep, you got it.
You had put in your TikTok video for waivers for deep gems for players that are rostered under 20%. Hey, you should go get this guy because he has a great rapport with Cam Ward. And then literally 5 hours later, he's named the starting wide receiver. Just unreal. Unfreaking believable. Great job by you.
Thank you.
So of course, as many of you are right now doing, you are getting in your last fantasy football draft, which totally get. I too am also getting in a fantasy football draft. I'm behind the curtain podcasting for 2 hours while doing my work draft for 2 hours, and so
always works out.
Literally, it always works out. And I told my coworkers in the draft that I'm doing currently that I would be podcasting. What could possibly go wrong while doing that and drafting at the same time? And they were like, "Cool. So when you select a kicker in the third round, we'll know why."
I wonder if they're watching us right now to see some hints from you or something.
Well, they're not getting any hints from the Dynasty show. They should be tuning in at 10 p.m. Eastern to Fourth and
to see like your reaction during the draft. Like,
I see what you're saying. Yeah, when I have a meltdown on air during the draft, like, why the hell did it auto draft for me at this point? So that should be. This should be interesting. This should be an interesting show, nevertheless, because we're going to be talking about our guys from a Dynasty perspective, players that we're excited about, not just for now, but for years to come. Obviously, we're talking Dynasty. But before we get into all of that, Aiden, what's new, man? What's new with you? We haven't been on air together for quite some time.
Yeah, I'm so excited to be back on air with you, obviously. And then I'm just so excited to consume all the shows that we got here at FAF. FAF Wednesdays are officially back in swing. I can't wait for that. I'm updating weekly rankings today, tomorrow, as we speak for Thursday Night Football. I'm just glad football's back. Preseason overreactions are fun. Preseason, whatever is fun, but like actual regular season data points, trends, all that a couple weeks into the season. It's just awesome to be back.
I couldn't have said it better myself. In fact, I couldn't, because you did it for me. No, I'm right there with you. Dynasty rankings are going to be updated soon, but of course, a lot of us were looking at redraft rankings. Since this is the redraft time of year, Dynasty 365 will be on the first week of every month during the season. Obviously, we know everybody's not really super concerned with Dynasty, so for those of you tuning in, thank you very much. That being the case, we got a comment already from Mags in the chat. Welcome. He says, Jalen Tolbert, a sleeper wide receiver 3, 100%. Big eyes, 100%. What are your thoughts there for the Dallas Cowboys as the wide receiver 3 here, sleeper from Mags?
So they have CeeDee Lamb. Obviously, they have George Pickens. It's going to be a condensed passing game. And like this time next year or beyond, I don't even know if Tolbert's on the team, because George Pickens is from a Dynasty perspective. George Pickens is a free agent after the season. I can't imagine they're going to give up all that trade capital to Steelers and just say, nope, we'll let you walk. But they just locked in Jake Ferguson with an extension. Javonte Williams to catch passes, and now he's only on a 1-year deal. We'll see. So there's a lot going against Jalen Tolbert here. I think he's like buried in the depth chart. So I think he's just a roster clogger, no matter what format you play in.
Mags, what are your thoughts on that? Do you agree, disagree? Let us know in the chat, as well as everybody else who's watching over on YouTube and on Twitter. You could still drop in comments on Twitter. It is still possible. I found that out the other day. I was like, oh, wow, how about this? X totally does not
still
suck.
There.
It's still there. It still does some positive things there. No, but thank you very much for tuning in. Thank you very much for being a part of the show today. And so with that, just giving you a little programming note, next hour we got the season premiere of Shoot the Gap, the IDP Fantasy Football podcast, here with myself, JT, Steve Gardner, and the godfather of IDP himself, Gary Davenport. And then we cap things off at 10 p.m. Eastern with Fourth and Frames with the new director of content here at Fantasy and Frames, Drew Scott. Congratulations, Drew. We got Rhett Manuel, we got Nate Markham. So it should definitely be a good show there where they're talking about our guys for the 2025 fantasy football season from a redraft perspective. So tune into all our shows. We really appreciate that. We really appreciate you all tuning in to the season premiere of all of our shows here at Fantasy and Frames. So let's get into it, Aiden. Let's talk about some of our guys from a dynasty perspective. We're going to be talking about quarterbacks, running backs, wide receivers, and tight ends. Why don't you kick it off? Give us a quarterback that you are looking forward to. That's one of your guys going forward.
Yeah. So this might surprise some people. It might not surprise some people just because of how bad the offense was last year. But in my opinion, coaching staff, player, personnel around him, top down, the New England Patriots. That is New England Patriots QB Drake May going into year 2. Yes, he's not some elite rushing QB like Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, Jaden Daniels, Jalen Hurts, who gets a ton of push touchdowns, But May has legit 700 to 800 rushing upside, in my opinion. And the Patriots always have a ton of cap space every single year. After the season, next offseason, they're going to have a ton of cap space again. So I think they finally get their big name receiver after trying to with Gerard Mayo and all the kind of lame duck 2 or 3 head coaches before. Well, it was just Gerard Mayo because he was after Bill Belichick. But we're past that now. I think the personnel around Drake May is very much improved. The offensive line can't get much worse than it was last year, but they did draft franchise left tackle in Will Campbell. They have a steady veteran right tackle, Morgan Moses. They're moving Micah Wenyu back out to guard, which I think personally is his best position. And just the offensive line is vastly improved. I think the whole culture vibes around this team going from Gerard Mayo to Mike Vrabel is just a massive, massive upgrade. And not to mention, they drafted an insanely explosive rookie who's arguably an elite pass protector at the position, Travion Henderson, who every Sunday, Monday, Thursday, whenever he plays, he can literally take any ball, any given play to the house, like bar none. Most electric running back in this class. I don't think Ashton Gianti is even as electric, or Hampton as electric with Travion Henderson after the catch with the ball in his hands. So I think the Patriots offense with Mike Vrabel, it just provides a nice floor. And from a dynasty going forward, I do foresee the Patriots prioritizing wide receiver now that they have a good thing going with Mike Vrabel and company in the next 2 or 3 years. Jorge, I got a question for you here.
Sure.
This sounds crazy, but now that Mahomes will be 30 in like just 2 or 3 weeks from now in the mid to end September here, would you take May or would you take Mahomes? Because Mahomes, like, it's been kind of a gross, slow churn, slow burn, if you will, the last couple of years in each of his respective fantasy seasons from a disappointment level. So would you take Drake May or would you take what you know in Patrick Mahomes?
What I know with Patrick Mahomes is that outside of one season, we've seen him have depreciating returns from a fantasy perspective and fantasy points per game. So it's not because he's getting older. It's just because the fantasy production hasn't been there. And of course, I'm not talking about real football. Real football, the guy constantly leads his team to Super Bowls. But for fantasy purposes, give me Drake May. Give me the rushing upside that Drake May possesses. I'm right there with you. I thought the drafting of the left tackle, who, by the way, for those of you who did not watch, after he got drafted, he was on stage and they were talking to him and they were talking about.
I saw it.
Yeah, they asked him, I forget who it was that asked him, but like, what are your thoughts on, protecting Drake May? He's like, I will die before Drake May gets touched or gets hurt.
I'll die for this man.
I'll die for this man. Yeah, I heard that. I'm like, oh my God, that is like the perfect response that you'd want your offensive lineman to say to you or say about you. So
especially being a rookie,
yeah, exactly.
So Mahomes, let's not forget too, for dynasty purposes, he's gonna lose Travis Kelce in like a year, most likely. So that is very significant.
No, that is very true. Also, not to mention the running game. They keep adding running backs. We don't know exactly who's gonna stick there. Yeah. Somebody's gonna go off for the Kansas City Chiefs, so we just don't know who it's going to be. So yeah, I'm right there with you. I would take Drake May.
And they have such a good defense that he's in negative game scripts a lot. So Mahomes doesn't have to do much anyway with his arm.
Now, I will say, if you're in a dynasty super flex, which most people tend to be, if Mahomes if I drafted Drake May and I had Mahomes as my QB2, I wouldn't obviously be, in a hurry to get rid of Patrick Mahomes. I mean, as my quarterback too, but you didn't draft him probably when you had your rookie drafts or your startup drafts for him to be your quarterback too. So just some food for thought here. We got Max back in the chat saying, Jalen Tolbert proved to be reliable last year with Cooper, I believe. I'm on the lookout for Jalen to get PPR targets with Ferguson when defenses lock down CD and Pickens. That's a fair point. At the same time, from a dynasty perspective, I don't know how much of a long-term investment you want to make here.
They can just draft another high-end receiver to replace him.
Exactly. Or even not even a high-end receiver, just a mid receiver, a receiver. Yeah. It's a younger receiver from that perspective. One of my guys I'm going to go for, and this is probably low-hanging fruit, but I'm excited for Cam Ward, ladies and gentlemen.
Talked about. No one talks about it.
No one talks about the guy. Like, first overall pick this past year from Miami, low turnover worthy play percentage, per PFF, 4,123 yards passing, 36 touchdowns, 7 interceptions. I mean, let's think about this. He has Calvin Ridley, who he's going to be funneling targets to.
150 plus usually.
He has his guy from school, Alec Ayamaner, that they just named as the starting wide receiver opposite Calvin. We got Chigakonkwo, who's reliable hands as a tight end.
Mm-hmm.
And we still have Tony Pollard, who is still somebody who can be utilized out of the backfield in the receiving game. And let's face it, this team is going to be throwing a lot. They need to be competitive. They need to stay competitive. They're not going to be competitive, but they're going to put up points, or at least try to put up points.
Their defense is pretty bad, so
right, exactly. They do have the Cincinnati Bengals model for the offensive scheme. So
younger Cincinnati Bengals.
Basically, it kind of is, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
And so even though, at the quarterback position at least, I mean, you have some younger players there, but I believe that Cam Ward is going to get a lot of looks and get a lot of opportunities to warrant being somebody who could potentially finish this year for redraft purposes, in the top 15, potentially maybe top 20 for quarterbacks. I think I see a lot of rankings out there that have him in the low 20s, which I think is not fair for dynasty. I think he's somebody who definitely has the potential to shoot up draft boards or shoot up the rankings for people.
I think people just forget, write him off because, in any other draft, he would be like QB5. This is a weak QB class. So what? I don't care about any other draft. He still went number 1 overall in this draft.
No, exactly. And that's what matters. And in the landing spot, it means a lot. And not to mention, you just kind of want to root for the guy because the guy is, all he does is go out there and handle business and talks about handling business. And, you don't hear anything other than him handling business. So you kind of like somebody who's just all about their job and all about doing the best they can. And yeah, so give me Cam Ward here. Who's another quarterback you got for us here, Aiden?
So people were so down on this guy last year, but I think he's in for a huge resurgence. And I think this year and going forward from a dynasty perspective, one of the biggest bounce backs we've seen in recent memory, that is no other than Mr. CJ Stroud of the Houston Texans. I love how he's set up here. Yes, the offensive line may be a little bit improved, maybe unfortunately the same, whatever. It can't be worse than last year. The running back situation is going to be Woody Marks, Damian Pierce, can Nick Chubb hold up, whatever. But I love how they attacked. They said, okay, Tank Dell went down. Okay, we traded away John Mechie. They said, we are not going to have, after everyone gets into it, we're not going to have Stroud throw in the guys like Xavier Hutchinson and John Mechie anymore. We're going to sign Christian Kirk. We're going to extend Nico Collins a couple years ago to a huge deal. We're going to get both Iowa State wide receivers in Jalen Knoll and Jaden Higgins. I think this entire Houston Texans passing offense as a whole is being very undervalued. And we talked about that weak, unknown, shaky at best running back room. I think CJ Stroud will be passing a ton. I think this is going to be easily a top 5 to 8 at the very least, maybe pushing 10 there if you want to go not just a couple notches down there. Passing right offense in the league. So I love how CJ Stroud set up this year. I'm expecting his future value to go way up after a down year last year by most.
Not to mention, if you read the beat reporters and the different, people who are covering the team. A lot of the offense is predicated on CJ Stroud this year. Gone is the system where he's basically getting play calls sent to him, and he's just operating play calls. Like, no, he's operating a lot of things from the line of scrimmage.
Freedom, yeah.
Freedom. Thank you very much for landing the plane there. He's getting the freedom to do things. He has the talent around him. The injury to Joe Mixon, I believe, is going to make him even more of a pass-heavy quarterback just because of the one-dimensionality of the offense. So, yeah, I'm with you with CJ Stroud. My quarterback, there's not a lot to go on because, well, there's not a lot to go on. I'm talking about JJ McCarthy. I'm excited for JJ McCarthy. To be honest with you, it's basically how it was last year after he was drafted. What's the narrative? Well, he didn't have like a great sample size of passing attempts at Michigan because they ran the ball a lot. And what are we saying this year? Okay, well, he's coming off of the torn meniscus, and it's the exact same narrative, but he's surrounded by receiving weapons galore. And it's like, yeah, it doesn't hurt when you have Justin Jefferson and Jordan Addison when he gets back from suspension, and you got Adam Thielen coming back as your reliable veteran. Although we'll see how long that takes for him to get up to speed. We got TJ Hawkinson. It's one of those, and then you have a great pass blocking offensive line. So, and not to mention he's playing with the quarterback whisperer and Kevin McConnell, who helped make Sam Darnold resurrect his career, and we all saw what happened last year with that.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, I mean, so it's all the pieces align there, and the metrics, the advanced metrics that you saw from JJ McCarthy at Michigan, they all looked good. It's just like the sample size just was not enough to actually warrant him being somebody who people were like, ooh, he's going to be a top 5 rookie draft dynasty pick here, because the sample size was low.
So would you go trade for him then, is what I'm hearing, if people are low on him still?
Oh my God, yes. I mean, it's like with any trade, like with any transaction, there's always a gamble that's associated with. But when has there been a gamble when the quarterback in question is surrounded with just such great talent? Like, I don't care if he throws the ball, 10 yards downfield, if Jordan Addison takes it to the house or JJ takes it to the house, because you know what? That's still fantasy points for me, right? Regardless of the fact that he's able to, maybe not sling it as far downfield. But then you look back to last year, like before he had the meniscus injury, he was slinging it in the preseason. So I'm excited for him. Let's get to the chat here for a couple of things. We got Mag saying, same with Wandale. I love Wandale in New York. Jalen and Wandale may turn into the new Jacoby. I'm a big
Wandale. Yeah,
I love Wandale. Like, his reception percentage is atrocious.
Horrible.
It doesn't matter. Excuse me. Yeah, I mean, he had like 140 targets and he caught like 70 of them or something like that. It was, or
600 yards.
Yeah, exactly. So, but for PPR, hey, give me the receptions, because of the high target volume. Love that take there. We got a comment from Dynasty Deviant, Mr. Chris Burns himself. Ooh. He says, if your dynasty roster was an actual family dynasty, who would be the crazy uncle everyone regrets inviting to Thanksgiving? I like that. And why is it Kyle Pitts? That is. Do you agree with that the crazy relative would be Kyle Pitts for you? Or
I thought he was referring to us at FIF at first. I was like, whoa, okay, but no. It would. I don't know. We keep trying with Kyle Pitts, and I don't know. It's like we're buying again, but we're not. It's weird. But
no, I hear you. And is it Kyle Pitts? No, I want to say the crazy uncle is George Kittle. Because he may just like
smash from everybody.
He'll go full pro wrestling mode and like tear his shirt off and like do an elbow drop on the mashed potatoes.
Aaron Waller would just be singing the whole time. He would just be making music videos.
I love it. Love it. All right, let's get to some running backs now. Give us a running back that's one of your guys for Dynasty there, Aiden.
Yeah, this is also a big one of my guys for redraft purposes as well, just to get in my head here. But it's Kenneth Walker, and I know a lot of people are concerned about Zach Charbonnet. Number one, I'm not nearly as high in, well, I don't want to say nearly as, but bottom line, I'm not as high on Zach Charbonnet for this year and beyond, because in the Seahawks offense, if you look at it, when both are perfectly healthy, I know that's a big both an if, just because Walker's banged up here and there, not quite often, but more often than we would like. When they're both perfectly healthy, Charbonnet does not get any touches, and Kenneth Walker gets literally all the touches. But number 2, Dynasty, going forward, I am fully confident in saying, because he's a free agent next offseason, in 2026, Kenneth Walker will be either a starter for the Seattle Seahawks or paid to be a starter somewhere else. Like, this is getting me going here. Could you imagine? Okay, that sounded weird, but never mind.
No. It's when folks, for those who don't know, Aiden is a very modest individual, but when he gets going, when he says he's getting going and the rant is about to ensue, like, strap in and get ready.
Okay, it's a positive thing. Could you imagine 2026 4-year deal, starting running back for the Dallas Cowboys, Kenneth Walker, with George Pickens, Dak Prescott, CeeDee Lamb? That would be a perfect hand glove fit, in my opinion. So whether it's on the Seahawks, whether it is a place like the Cowboys, some other big money team that's willing to throw money at him, I'm fully confident in saying that Kenneth Walker will be a starter. I think people are down on him just because, Zach Charbonnet is better. He's going to walk from the Seahawks. If he walks this from the Seahawks, fine. It's actually probably better just because he won't have to deal with Zach Charbonnet anymore. So rant over. That's my take.
So I know you're not exactly the biggest Breece Hall fan, and we all know that Rhett Manuel is not the biggest Breece Hall fan.
Rhett converted me fully. In March, I was totally in. Now I'm totally out.
Yeah. So what are your thoughts on here from Moggs? He said Breece Hall to Dallas. What would you think about that if Breece Hall went to the Dallas Cowboys if we had a trade this year?
So I'd love it. Same thing with Kenneth Walker. Next year's free agent running back class is loaded. You got Travis Etienne, you got Breece Hall, you got Kenneth Walker. Any of those guys, obviously my ideal fit is Kenneth Walker, but any of those guys, I think it would boost their value instantly. Because right now, if you look at those guys, Travis Etienne in a committee, Kenneth Walker, he has that nagging Zach Charbonnet guy, and Breece Hall in a projected committee, Aaron Glenn says. So I think I would love all 3 of those guys going to Dallas. Just pick one of them.
Nice. So one of my running backs that I want to talk about, and this is completely a homer pick here. And I see here on our chat screen.
I was surprised by this one. I thought you were going to go somewhere else in the backfield. But.
Right. Yeah. Drew Scott here, Drew3MR posted the stream. Thank you very much. It's one of his guys from Kentucky, actually, and a Washington Commander. I'm excited. One of my guys is Chris Rodriguez, 2023 drafted University of Kentucky. A couple of the advanced metrics I like to look at is how good are they with the ball in their hands per attempt, and how much of a splash do they make in the running game? So I like to look at breakaway run percentage. And so you look at his yards after contact per attempt, his senior season at Kentucky, 3.84. That's pretty freaking phenomenal.
That's like up there. Yeah.
With a breakaway run percentage of 35%. Again, that's pretty freaking phenomenal.
Keeper metrics are real good.
And you go back to last season with the Commanders. Okay, well, he had a 3.91 yards after contact per attempt and a 34% breakaway run percentage. So not a lot of drop off from his senior season in college to even last year. And I get it. The sample size is small. We had Brian Robinson, take on most of the work there. But again, that's kind of what you're doing in Dynasty. You're kind of like trying to get ahead of the curve here. And we know that Austin Eckler was named the RB1, or at least on the unofficial depth chart, for week 1, that he is the RB1 on paper. But like how much does Austin Eckler have left, right? And I get it. We all want Bill Krosky to be the guy, It's not Ja'Cory. I like Ja'Cory. I wish he would have kept
sounds
that.
weird, but
it's just
not
odd.
weird, but it sounds kind of strange.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I am right there with you. But
we can call him whatever we want.
Well, we want to have him as a guest on the show one day, if that ever were to happen. I don't know. We may want to be
okay. Let's not.
Let's be nice about it. But where was I going with this? So I like Rodriguez. I think he could potentially step into a starting role. Yes, I'm not going to be swayed by that like huge run he had in the preseason where he just broke through the offensive line. Like, sure, that's preseason. Like the thing about that though is based off of his production in college his senior year, and then based off of limited sample size last year, like him breaking away big runs is not something that should be new for him, and we look at the upgrades along the offensive line that the Commanders have. A lot of us are thinking well, they just upgraded things from a pass pro perspective. I'm like, well, no, they improved everything. Like, it's not just pass pro that went, but offensive blocking got better as well. So I'm excited for Chris Rodriguez. And again, I can understand what people saying, oh, Jorge, that's such a homer pick. But when you think about it, is it?
Can I say something quick? Just I want to make a
go
point
for it.
Rodriguez. Rodriguez, in my opinion, is going to provide the juice and explosiveness in this backfield. How much explosiveness does Eckler really have at this point in his career? Jacory Carrasco caught like 10, 12, whatever passes in college in his 5-year career. I think if anyone's going to provide the explosiveness in this backfield, it will absolutely be Chris Rodriguez.
Yeah, I totally agree. Who's another running back for you that was one of your guys for Dynasty?
So the other one here, this is kind of a deeper name in Ken Walker. It is Jordan Mason. Obviously, the Minnesota Vikings just re-signed this past offseason that just ended Aaron Jones to a 2-year deal, and he's making $10 million a year, 2 years, $20 million. But if you look, that check year is kind of like fluff money, if you will, because they can get out of it pretty easily after year one. And they wouldn't have, not only did they trade for Jordan Mason, but they immediately signed him to a two-year extension after they traded for him from the San Francisco 49ers. So they wouldn't have done that unless Kevin O'Connell and staff, had big plans for Jordan Mason. And I know he doesn't really catch the ball, but like if you look at his deeper metrics, he was so damn efficient last year when he got the ball in not a small sample size. Like he started most of the season until he himself got injured in San Francisco last year. And like, I know San Francisco just cast them off, but Minnesota clearly has big plans for him. So I know Minnesota could add to the running back room in 2026 and beyond, but with Aaron Jones likely out of the picture after this year in his older, I'm not going to say old yet, in his older age, just because he is only 30, 31. He's not quite up there yet, but with Aaron Jones likely moving on, at least from Minnesota after this season, I think Jordan Mason will be clearing away the bell cow in this extremely high-powered offense. J.J. McCarthy depending in 2026 and beyond. And he's going to get a lot of touchdown opportunities just because of the power back nature in of himself.
No, I love that. I love that pick right there. They wouldn't have made that financial investment and make that trade if they weren't sure, like, hey, this guy has something. And he popped while he was in San Francisco.
And that was just after extending Aaron Jones a month before.
Right. No, totally on board with that. My next guy at running back, who's one of my guys for Dynasty, it's Tony Pollard. And really the question has become, okay, we all know that he is the guy in Tennessee. We all thought last year that, well, he's going to split snaps with Tajay Spears. We're making Tajay Spears a thing. The guy who has like no cartilage in either of his knees.
He doesn't have an ACL in one knee. But.
Yeah, thank you. Well, first of all, kudos to him for being in the NFL, for not even having an ACL in one of his legs or knees. But we saw the splits. It's pretty evident that Tony Pollard got the majority of work there as the running back, and Tajay Spears kind of was the guy behind there. That being the case, the question you have to ask yourself from a dynasty perspective is the workload going to catch up to him? And so far it hasn't. If you look back to Dallas, he had that 1 foot injury. I want to say like week 6 or 7 a few seasons ago. But then he came back later that season and played pretty well. And then the following year, they gave him another heavy workload. Well is debatable. You could throw is it a good well, bad well? He played better than anyone would think with coming off of a broken foot. Let's put it like that. He comes back. He has a good year. He goes to Tennessee last season, and he has the high volume that he had in Dallas. And so now it's, Tajay Spears is hurt again, or I should say he is hurt this year so far. And so it's going to be the Tony Pollard game. And it's just, you just have to ask yourself, if he continues to get this workload, but can handle it, how excited everybody should be for him from a dynasty perspective. I'm excited, especially with this offense where it's going to be, basically until they get a good defense, just humming, because Cam Ward's going to be slinging it everywhere. For them being a good team. Yes, exactly. Albert, what's going on, everybody? What's going on with you, Albert? Hope everything is well. So yeah, I'm definitely interested in Tony Pollard, and he's definitely one of my guys, and I definitely think he can keep this workload going, despite the fact that people are going to be pointing to his small frame and physical metrics there. I don't buy it. I think he has the ability to do everything that you want as running back is concerned, both receiving the ball and rushing the ball.
Underrated pass catcher for sure.
Very underrated. Very underrated. All right, let's get to wide receivers. What are your thoughts here, Aiden?
Yeah, not to gloat here, but I called this guy in my early waiver wire as TikTok short / video, whatever you want to call it, from yesterday, and that is Alec Manor. It just happened 5 hours later. Now, let's provide context here. Sleepers should have just cut it off with Alec Manor named starter. They didn't need to say Alec Manor named starter over Van Jefferson. Who cares about that? That's not saying much. But put that aside. Kelvin Ridley, obviously the number one pass catcher. Chiga Congo is his own thing. But someone's going to have to step up in terms of being a number 2 wide receiver for Cam Ward, who loves to throw downfield, and Alec Manor has done that. I mentioned this in my short. This is a very huge thing of note in my opinion. Alec Manor, first of all, that's a fun name to say, but whatever. Manor, he played almost exclusively with Cam Ward in the starters the entire preseason, all 3 games, and then came out when they came out and played with nobody else. That's huge for a rookie. So no wonder he was just named the starter. So the target opportunity is absolutely there. I think this offense will be better in year 2 and 3 with Cam Ward and beyond. And it sounds like from the beat reporters, from what I'm seeing on Twitter and the streets and stuff, Tyler Lockett isn't going to be a factor fantasy producer at all. He's basically just there to be a locker room guy at this point in his career, lead the young guys and Chim DK and Manor. But I think, 1, you should absolutely add Manor right now, as I said in my short yesterday. But 2, I think Manor is even more valuable in Dynasty going forward as Cam Ward improves, as this offense improves, as this defensive fortune continues to be bottom tier in the NFL. So he has talent. He played with Cam Ward on the starters almost exclusively in preseason. Everything is here for the opportunity for him to step up as the wide receiver 2. I rest my case. Done.
Speaking of a wide receiver who has potential to be the wide receiver 2, or depending how the cookie crumbles, could potentially become a wide receiver 1 for this team. Yes, I'm saying a wide receiver 1, and I don't think it's that bold. We're talking about Malik Washington, Miami Dolphins, coming over last year in the draft from the University of Virginia. He played from 2019 to 2022 at Northwestern. Last year, 2023, went to UVA. And I don't know if this is groundbreaking news I'm throwing out here, but Virginia is not exactly what we like to call a quote-unquote powerhouse in the world of college football.
I thought they were like ACC champs or something.
No, you would think so, but no, not even that great. So sorry to let you down there, Aiden.
Breaking news.
So he was the offense playing out of the slot for the Cavaliers. We look back to his senior year, 1,384 yards with 9 touchdowns. Things I like. Again, I like slot wide receivers. I like the matchups that they have there against their defender counterparts. We look at his 6.4 yards after the catch per reception. Cool. I like efficiency metrics that look good. Another thing is, even though all other teams knew that he was the focal point of this passing game, on 17 targets, he had a 64.7 contested catch percentage. Wow. So even though other teams, and the thing is like, you're telling me other defenses knew it was coming, and this guy still found a way to make not just the easy catches, but all the difficult catches as well.
Yeah.
And now he's going to Miami, and we go back to the last preseason game in Dynasty DV, and I hope you're still watching, being a Dolphins fan. Like, if you go on Twitter, it's basically Malik Washington to the moon. This guy has it. He has that it factor. Yeah. When Tyreek Hill is gone, he's going to be the guy who takes over. And I'm like, well, I'm not there yet. I love Malik
You'll have to
Washington.
wait a year, maybe. But.
Yeah, but you like what you've seen so far in year 2, based off of the reports, based off of the production. Yes, it's preseason. Let's see what happens when the regular season starts. But for dynasty purposes, if I can get in on the Malik Washington train now, I'm trying to acquire him wherever I can.
5th round pick. Like, you can send a 4th round rookie pick and no one will blink an eye. Like, sure, I'll throw Malik Washington in a trade, and then you can get value on that in a year or 2.
Mags with the awesome compliment here. And thank you all for not trend surfing hot names and actually doing some digging into deeper prospects. Thank you for appreciating that. That's
Ashton GNT riser.
I don't know if you heard this, but Jamar Chase
You
definitely want to invest.
You need to draft.
Must draft. Yeah, every single pick you have, try to acquire Justin Jefferson. So yeah, thanks, Mox. We appreciate that.
No, good stuff.
Who's another wide receiver you got?
I got Rome Odunze. I don't really love him for a redraft perspective this year because I think this offense is kind of clogged. But based on DJ Moore's body language last year, I think he's kind of like not sick of Chicago, but I could very well see him being traded off of the Bears after this season. It looks like Ben Johnson wants to build his future offense around Luther Burden. Coastal loves is one thing at the tight end position, but for wide receivers, Luther Burden and Rome Odunze at the very least. And I think Odunze is the one guy. Burden, best work in the slot. Moore, best work in the slot. Loveland, Loveland, best work in the slot.
Jim's gonna hurt you.
Yeah,
for that
I
one.
was just gonna say that.
Yeah, okay.
I'll message him after. Apologize. I think Rome Odunze is the only one that lives strictly on the outside, and I think he'll get a lot of those jump ball end zone opportunities, not just for this year, but for dynasty perspective. And I just gotta say, this relates to Odunze because the quarterback. I think the hate for Caleb Williams, redraft is one thing, but I think the hate for Caleb Williams and a dynasty, like, oh, I'll trade him away right now for a first or second round pick. Like, I think the hate for Caleb Williams has gone way too far for like people giving up on him way too early. I don't know if you agree or not, Jorge, but just I don't know. It just the vibes are weird just because of Ben Johnson's the new head coach. He doesn't get the ball out quick enough. And Ben Johnson's been seen multiple times chewing him out and he calls him out in press conferences. I don't know. It's weird, but I think that people are giving up on Caleb Williams way too early. And I think Rome Odunze, once DJ Moore is, I'm not going to say probably, but could be traded after this coming season. So next offseason you're looking at, I think this offense will evolve around Rome Odunze and Burden, more specifically Odunze in this case.
So Rome Odunze, Caleb Williams, I'll get to Rome Odunze in a second. I don't think it's fair that he's getting all the negative, critique. Look at the situation he was in last year.
Yes.
You hear the reports coming out of OTAs earlier in the year is like, they didn't teach him how to study film. They didn't teach him how to read coverage. Nobody helped him develop as a rookie quarterback. Well, no kidding. He's not doing great his rookie season yet. Had some
Matt Eberflus as head coach. Come on.
Yeah. That being the case, while he didn't set the world on fire, there are definitely glimpses that where you saw his talent.
He's got downfield acumen for sure. Like he's got downfield passing ability.
Yeah. So it's one of those things where it's like, let's take a minute. Let's reset. I mean, it's one of those things. It's kind of like JJ McCarthy that we were talking about earlier, where it's like, okay, you surrounded him. Last year, the talk was like, okay, well, he has all these receiving weapons. He should be great. But then, it's like, well, oh, right. We need to protect him. Right. So now it's like, okay, well, now we really got him in a good situation. We got him his receiving weapons and we got a rebuilt offensive line to protect him. Now he should have no excuse, So the parallels between McCarthy and the Vikings and Caleb Williams and the Bears are very similar. So
I honestly think people would feel better if we didn't see Caleb at all last year, like McCarthy, instead of a whole year of bad film. But
right. So I mean, if you're excited for JJ and the Vikings, given the surrounding environment that he finds himself in, you by parallel, you have to be excited for Caleb. It's the exact same situation, just different names. Mm-hmm. So something to look forward to. As far as the coach calling him out and left him, like whatever. Like
I don't care. I was just bringing it up because that's what people say. Oh, the coach is calling him out. He must not like him.
Right. No, yeah. As far as Rome Odunze is concerned, 100% agree with everything you just said. He is the downfield threat. Luther Burden is the slot guy. DJ Moore is the utility guy. Exactly. He's the tweener guy.
Backfield touches now, apparently.
Yeah. Which that's going to be the Achilles heel for the Bears if there was one, is the running game. But that's another story for another time. Spoiler alert: there's nobody in Dynasty I'd want on the Bears running back.
Sell them all. I don't just.
Yeah, like 3rd round picks, 4th round picks, just get them off your roster, whatever you need to do.
They're not valuable.
Okay, let's get to the tight end position. I'll get us going here. So one of my guys is Brenton Strange from the 23 draft class, 6'4", 247 out of Penn State, played 44.2% of his snaps from the slot in college. had a 7.3 yards of the catch per reception, had in the NFL last season, 135 quarterback rating when targeted. So needless to say,
yeah,
trusted hands. Quarterbacks, when he's throwing the ball his way, he normally comes through with them. Last year in half PPR scoring, he had 4 top 10 finishes. When playing 80% of snaps or more, he accumulated at least double-digit fantasy points. No Evan Ingram, no Christian Kirk. We got Brian Thomas. We have half of Travis Hunter, maybe, if he's going to be playing on the defensive side of the ball.
Doug Peterson to Liam Cohen, too.
Right. Well, yeah, exactly. Offensive creativity, play calling, improvement. So this could be a thing. This could be Brenton's coming out party here and really kind of asserting himself in the passing game for Trevor Lawrence and company. So I'm definitely excited to see what he does. I didn't realize how I don't want to say dominant because that's probably not the right word, but I didn't realize how impressive he was at Penn State. And it's kind of one of those things where it's like he was kind of Tyler Warren before he was Tyler Warren.
He played over Tyler Warren.
Yeah. So thank you. So that I found that to be very impressive. And the fact is, again, he just needs the playing time, and he's as shorthanded as you can get. So definitely trying to acquire Brenton Strange in Dynasty if at all possible. Yeah.
Love it.
Who do you got for a tight end?
I think people come around to this more and more after thinking about it, but I got Tucker Kraft of the Green Bay Packers. Now, I know what everyone's going to say for now in the future. Oh, this Green Bay Packers wide receiver room, passing game room as a whole is congested. And, well, Matt LaFleur has said before that he literally vomits at the thought or sight of a wide receiver one. Whatever. I don't really care about that. I think this room is going to clear out significantly after this year, and that's important if we're talking Dynasty. Christian Watson, free agent of season, goodbye. Romeo Doubs, fine, deep sleeper, whatever, but free agent after the season, probably goodbye. Dontavian Wicks under contract for 2 more years. Okay, does he know how to catch the football? Does he know how to separate downfield? I don't know. Other than being well, you see how many drops he had last year.
No, I'm not disagreeing. I just love it when you go. Aiden Unfiltered is like.
This is rare for me, by the way.
But I love it. I freaking love it. I hope you all are appreciating the unscripted nature of Aiden Weingartner right now, who you should be following on X, A Weingartner 13. Continue. I'm sorry for interrupting.
No,
don't hurt me. Don't hurt me. Okay.
Dontavian Wicks and Jaden Reed. Unfortunately, I think he showed down the stretch last year, and in my opinion, he's nothing more than a gadget guy. Maybe a few spike weeks here and there for years to come, but I don't know. I think this wide receiver room for 2026 and beyond after the season is going to be firmly built around Matthew Golden and Tucker Kraft, and I think Tucker Kraft is going to by far get the most volume in this offense. So, 1, the room is clearing out significantly, and 2, I think him and Golden are going to be the only targets you're going to want for 2026 and beyond. I think the Packers will literally build this offense around those two, and I'm expecting a bounce back down the line for Jordan Love as well for years to come.
Very nice. All right, folks. So that's going to do it for our guys from a Dynasty perspective. To hear more of our thoughts, feel free to reach out. As far as other players, reach out to us. I was just saying earlier, reach out to Aiden at A Weingartner 13 over on X, as well as you're on TikTok at A Weingartner 13, if memory serves me correctly. Is that X? Is that accurate? Okay.
Exact same, yeah.
And then you can find me on X or Twitter at Jorge B. Edwards, as well as over on TikTok as well. Do you mind? And I know this is not Dynasty related, but I actually, during our podcast just now, wrapped up my work league draft.
That was quick.
It was. There's only one player I auto drafted, which was Breece Hall. So I managed. Yeah. Do you mind if I tell you?
What round for Breece Hall?
I think it was like the 8th round.
Okay, at that point, it's fine.
All right. Do you mind if I tell you who the roster is? And this, again, for redraft purposes, but I kind of want to get your.
I'll give it a letter grade. How about that?
Yeah, since you're already in unfiltered mode,
I'm going off here. Yeah.
I want to get your legit feelings here. All right, so it's a super flex, 2 running backs, 3 wide receivers, and 2 additional flexes. So my quarterbacks are C.J. Stroud and Joe Burrow.
That's
then
awesome.
My starting lineup is Ashton Genty, Josh Jacobs, My wide receivers are Malik Neighbors, Terry McLaurin, Cortland Sutton. My tight end is George Kittle. My 2 flexes are Breece Hall and DJ Moore. And then my bench is Jordan Mason, Ricky Pearsall, Alec Ayo Manor, Matthew Golden, Jake Ferguson, and Brenton Strange. I know 2 tight ends. That's kind of weird, but I was doing a podcast. So what are your thoughts?
I'm going to give this a very favorable grade, B+.
Thank you.
Like I love the upside of your bench. The only thing I kind of question from the A range is just because I'm not very in on your 2 flexes, and if I'm being honest, in Breece Hall and DJ Moore this year. I'm not really, loving the outlook, but you did mention how Breece Hall is an auto pick. But in the 8th round, it's fine. I will go B+ though, because I love the starters outside the 2 flex spots, and I think you got tons of upside in the bench. If those guys, hit, they hit, and I think you got in early investment on allocating Maynor when he should not be in waivers, but he is right now, and you just drafted him really late instead. So I'm going to give it a very great grade of a B+.
Thank you. No, he was actually the very last pick, and I'm like, there's nobody in this league. There's nobody who's drafting this. So I'm already projected to win this matchup, so I'm loving it already.
Yeah. What's this context of this league? Are they like diehards, casuals? Like what's going on here?
I don't think they're as hardcore as I am, but there is a gradient of
12-man league.
No, not even that awesome. An 8-man league.
That's shallow.
8-person, yeah.
Waivers are some good players didn't get drafted, bro.
Yeah, no, exactly. But it's gonna be fun. It's always good the talking smack. Although there is one negative.
What?
And that is my supervisor texted me this evening, and he's like, "We're drafting tonight." I'm like, "Yeah, I put the message out earlier." He goes, "I guess I should turn the notifications on the app." And the second he said that, my inner monologue was like, "No." Because when I make a waiver wire acquisition in the middle of the day when I should be working, he's going to know now because he has.
Hey, what are you doing?
Yeah, he's got the goddamn notifications on his phone now. So now I'm really screwed.
Jorge, you're supposed to be working right now.
No, the best part is like we have like a weekly lab meeting from like 8 to 9:30. So like while he's giving like a speech about a project, and
you're
all
just
of a sudden,
over there picking up
people on waivers, and like the buzzing of his phone will go off, and he'll look at his phone, and then he'll just like,
and then he'll get out of the meeting and say, "Was that at the same time while I was talking?"
No. He won't even. He won't even wait. He'll just look over across the table and just,
you're the only one there on your phone.
Yeah, it's like really, right
try to pay attention. You already know all the stuff he's saying, probably.
Yeah, I mean, maybe we'll find out. So anyway, okay, cool. B+, I can live with that.
That's good. I just wish the 2 flexes were better. That's my only thing.
I agree with you 100% with that. Folks, thank you very much for tuning in to Dynasty 365. I know we've been off the air for a while. If you're over on X, give us a follow at Fantasy and Frames. Follow us over on YouTube. Hit that notification bell, subscribe so you're notified whenever we put out fantasy football content. Head over to TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, you name it, wherever Fantasy and Frames is at. Give us a follow. We really appreciate it. Again, this is season premiere night. We got our IDP show, Shoot the Gap, next hour. Then we got 4th and Frames next. Then tomorrow night, we got Rider Dynasty, where basically we're going to be doing a lot of like analysis heading into the season kickoff with the Eagles and the Cowboys. Then on Sunday, we have for our 6th year in a row, we've been doing this here at Fantasy and Frames for 8 years, but it's been 6 years we've had this show. It's our FIF Sunday morning kickoff show from 8 a.m. Eastern until 12 p.m. Eastern. We're basically going to give you lots of information.
A lot of information, 4 hours.
No, exactly. Like we're going to give you information on the flex options that we're excited for, players that we're keeping track of, injuries, news and notes, and most importantly, answering all of your start and sit questions that you'll have coming our way. So we can't wait to answer those and to give you, we're not going to give you, well, we are going to take this player, because I like him. No, we're going to give you some substantial recommendations as to why.
Start him. I like him.
Yeah, I would put him in my roster. Why? Because I get good vibes. I'm like,
why? Because I like him.
Yeah, exactly. Moggs is in the chat here. He says, appreciate you all. We appreciate you. Hit that subscribe button if you don't mind. If you haven't already, we really appreciate that. And again, like we said at the top of the show, Dynasty 365 will be on every first Wednesday of each month leading up to New Year 2026, and then you'll be seeing us weekly here at Fantasy and Frame. So really excited to be back on with you, Aiden, and talking shop from a Dynasty perspective. And of course, we'll see you in October. And thank you all very much. And again, if you have
we
any
might be melting down by then, but whatever.
We might be. We'll definitely give you an idea of where we're at, where our player stances are from a Dynasty perspective after the first month of the season. So look forward to that, as well as we may talk about some college information there, in terms of prospects and whatnot. So we got a lot of stuff planned for you, even though we're not going to be on the air every single week, but just stay tuned. And so for Aiden, I'm Jorge. We'll see you later. Take care.